All right, so sitting on our butts, soles of the feet together, or in easy posture if that feels better for you today. I kind of want to be a little bit more spacious in my body today, which is why I was opting for our bound ankle pose. So let's take a nice deep cleansing breath in together, in through the nose, and let it go through the mouth. And let's start inviting the air to just be coming in and out through the nose. Hands can be resting on the legs, or if it feels nice to make some other contact with your body, you can always put some hands on your belly, on your heart. Wherever you are, just feel that warmth from you to you. Grounding the tailbone, finding length all the way up through the crown and visualizing that rainbow of energy centers coming from our tailbone all the way up through the sacrum, through the solar plexus, through the heart, the throat, the third eye, forehead, and the crown of the head. If you need to be receiving energy, palms are facing up and outward. If you need to be grounding your energy, palms can be facing in towards the body. And we're just breathing here for just a moment. Stopping. Just stopping. Stopping looking at things, stopping thinking about things. Just checking in and breathing. Feeling the cool air coming through the nose and out through the nose. I'm not trying to change or alter the breath yet. We're just letting the air do its thing, come in and out of the body. Inviting some loving energy, particularly into the heart space. Feeling our breath moving that heart space, maybe visualizing a greenish color filling you with warmth, maybe a golden color, maybe kind of a golden green or a green with golden hues. We're going to gently begin adding a little bit of control and change to the breath here. We're going to be practicing our Ujjayi breath, where we gently constrict the back of the throat, ever so slightly, creating a sort of an S sound on the inhale and an H sound on the exhale. Sounds kind of like an ocean. If you can hear me when I do it, it should sound something like this. Excuse me. You can begin playing with that in your own time. Ujjayi breath is helpful for finding balance in the breath. The sound can be incredibly comforting. That slight constriction in the larynx or in the soft palate can help the air move a little bit more slowly in and out of the body. It can help bring a little extra energy to ourselves as we move. Gently start bringing your hands onto the legs, and maybe even walking them, maybe massaging the calves a little bit, letting the hands start moving towards the ankles and the feet. Just giving some loving energy to your lower limbs. Feeling where you may have some knots or some stiff spots. And eventually finding your way, folding over your feet. You can bring the palms to the mat. You can bring your palms to blocks. You can bring your forearms to blocks, whatever feels good. We're just starting to open up that hip carriage a little bit. Keeping the tailbone grounding down towards the back of the mat. And visualizing the spine sort of coming up and over that grounding, reaching up like an arc. Being mindful to keep the spine in alignment, not flopping our chin over too much, just keeping all of those vertebrae reaching and stacking. And inhaling to find length in the spine and exhaling to gently continue folding over your feet, over your legs. Stopping where it doesn't feel good anymore, but also allowing any sensation into the conversation, into your body, recognizing that sensation is not the enemy. And using your breath to open up wherever you may be feeling some of that tension. And when you're ready, gently walking the fingertips back upright, stacking the spine on top of one another. Inhaling and exhaling here. Inhale, bring the arms up and overhead. Exhale, gently twist towards the right, bringing the left hand towards the right knee. Right hand can come to your waist, to your low back, to a block, to the earth. Not cranking the spine around, just gently feeling that rotation coming all the way from the pelvis and just gently continuing the journey up to the top of the head. Again, inhaling to find length here and exhaling to wring yourself out, sort of like a washcloth. Connecting with that Ujjayi breath. Engaging the low abdominals to help continue this rotation. Protecting the low back. And on your next big inhale, bringing the arms up and overhead and coming back to center. And exhaling to the other side. Right hand comes to left knee. Left hand can come behind you, to a hip, to the low back, to a block, to the mat. Whatever seems right. Noticing the differences between your two sides. Finding length on the inhale. gently wringing out those internal organs on the exhale. And on your next big inhale, come back towards center, arms come up and overhead. And exhale, hands come back down to your sides. Go ahead and straighten your legs forward. You can stay sitting up on, if you're sitting up on something, you can stay sitting up here, or you can come down, bring your tailbone down to the earth. Flexing the toes up towards the sky, finding, again, that grounding in the tailbone, length all the way up through the spine, up to the crown of the head. We're gonna take a closed twist now. So we're gonna bring our right knee in towards the body. If you got belly meat, go ahead and move the belly meat out of the way. You can let your right leg be on the outside of your tummy. But same thing here, we're gonna inhale to lengthen and exhale, opposite hand to knee, so left hand to right knee, gently rotating the spine. Feeling an opposite stretch now in that right hip. You can have both hands on that right knee. If you're bendy, you can put the outside of your left arm on the outside of your right knee. Or you can just find whatever feels good here. Regardless, we're inhaling to find length and we're exhaling to twist towards that knee. Feeling that stretch, that rotation on the outside of the right thigh. And on an exhale, coming back towards center, straightening the right leg out. You can give it a little shake, you can give it a little love. And we're gonna take that on the opposite side. So the left knee comes up towards the sky. Again, if you got tummy meat, just kind of lovingly move it out of the way so that you can bring your knee up tall. Inhale to find length. Hi, baby. Squeak, squeak. Inhale to find length. And exhale to twist towards that left knee. Right toes still flexing up towards the sky. I don't know if you can hear Lilith squeaking, but it's very cute. Inhaling to find length. And exhale to continue that rotation. Again, just like in our other twist, really engaging in the deep low core and that pelvic floor even. And feeling the rotation coming from that deep in your body. And this stretch, the opposite stretch that we already had. Breathing to find comfort, to find renewal in this shape. And on an exhale, go ahead and lengthen the left leg back in front of you. You can give it a little shake. All right, we're gonna come to our bellies, just like Lilith. You're ready. You're ready. So if you're sitting up on something, you can go ahead and come off of it. We're gonna come to lay on our bellies with our hands. Let's just kind of settle on our bellies first. So you can start by making kind of a pillow with your hands for your forehead. And really kind of get settled here. Again, if you've got meat on your tummy, You may have to kind of wiggle around to feel that connection of the pelvis and the hip bones in towards the earth. I kind of have to dig the balls of my feet into the earth and kind of lift my legs up a little bit. But then once it's connected, it feels really stable. We're going to be doing a little bit of heart opening and back bending here. And so the reason that I want to draw your attention to that pelvis is because when we're back bending, we want to make sure that our pelvis is connected to the earth, but we're not making that happen just by squeezing the butt. Squeezing your butt muscles can cause unneeded tension in your low back, and you can actually move your pelvis more effectively by using your pelvic floor and low abdominal. So if you're connecting that, I think it's called, one of my yoga teachers refers to it as a root lock. Finding that pelvic floor kind of pelvic tilt a little bit. But again, releasing the butt muscles as much as possible and keeping the tops of the feet grounded into the earth. Go ahead and get settled here, finding that connection to the earth. See if you can really isolate the different muscles helping that pelvis connect to the earth. When you're ready, we're going to place the hands underneath the shoulder heads. Hang on just one second, this shirt is in the way. So we're going to place the palms underneath the shoulder heads. Forehead comes to the earth, finding that foundation in our front body connection to the earth. And without weighting in our hands are just here for a little support. We're going to start curling the spine up by almost imagining you're watching a little marble roll across the floor. And only come up as far as you can without pushing into the earth too much with your hands. You should be able to lift your hands up off the earth. Breathing deeply, melting the shoulders away from the ears, keeping the elbows tucked in towards the torso. Finding that deep pelvic connection to the earth. Tops of the feet are grounding to the earth. One more deep breath here. And exhale to lower. Right cheek comes to the earth. You can stretch the arms alongside the body. Just release everything. Our hearts have had a trying week, which means it's a good time to try opening that heart space a little bit. Our heart wants to run away, and we can't let it. And when you're ready, bring the forehead back to the earth, palms underneath the shoulder blades again, shoulder heads. And this time we're going to find a little bit of weight in our hands, but we're going to start exactly the same way that we did. Shoulders melting away from the ears, spine gently beginning to curl up, pelvic floor engaged with the earth, coming up as long as you can without putting any weight in the hands, and then gently pressing a little bit of weight into the mat, keeping the elbows tight in towards the body, engaging the triceps, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Breathing here to open up that front body. We're not cranking the head up, we're keeping the chin in line with the chest. And exhale, come all the way down, left cheek towards the mat. Arms can rest along your sides. Breathing deeply here. accepting the rest that our bodies and our hearts and our spirits very much need. And when you're ready, bring the forehead back to the mat. This time we're going to bring the hands underneath those shoulder heads again, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, finding that pelvic lock without squeezing the butt. We're not clenching the glutes. Begin to imagine that marble rolling across the floor. When you come to the place that we just were, wading into the hands a little bit. And when you're at a point where you want to keep pressing, go ahead and try to bring the arms to straight if it feels good. If it's too much for your low back, don't do it. But lifting the body up, keeping the butt relaxed is a good stretch for the front of your body. Keeping the tops of the feet grounded, feeling that whole spine in alignment with itself. Breathing deeply, look to the left, look to the right, look towards center, and lower yourself all the way down. Elbows in tight towards the body, forehead to the earth. Press yourself back into a child's pose. Knees can be as wide as the mat. Big toes touch. Forehead comes towards the earth, and this can be a fairly passive child's pose where, again, we're not building a bunch of heat today. We're just caring for ourselves from the inside out. Adding a little opening, inviting a little warmth from here and there. If it feels nice in your child's pose, you can kind of massage your brow bone on the mat. And when you're ready, we're going to come toward hands and knees. Bringing the palms underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. And let's just take a little bit of cat-cow here. So inhale, extend the spine, tailbone lifts, gaze comes up. Exhale, tailbone curls, chin comes toward chest. Just take a couple of these here. We're not going to spend too much time here. Just want to be opening things up a little bit. Inhaling and exhaling. And when you're ready, go ahead and grab your blocks. Or not, if you don't have them or don't want them. If you do not have blocks but you want them, books or boxes are a great addition. So go ahead and come to hands and knees with your blocks, if that feels good. And go ahead and step your right foot up in between your hands. We're going to open up our hips a little bit here. Taking a low supported lunge, and remember that when we are in this posture, we want to come to the quadricep of that back leg more so than the kneecap. So if you need to kind of curl the toes under and lift that knee up to kind of zhuzh the knee back a little bit, that's a great option. You can also put a blanket underneath your knee. Whatever feels best for you here, and always remembering to kind of bring those shoulders away from the ears, stretching both the front of that left leg and opening up that right hip. And you can kind of go back and forth from that low lunge into a counter stretch, getting the hamstring as well. Just being mindful to move with your breath. Inhaling to find openness and exhaling to keep increasing that sensation. And if it feels good, once you start to kind of warm up here, maybe you send the back leg back a little bit more. Maybe you walk or scrunch the front foot ahead a little bit more. finding that stretch in the hamstring. This type of hip opening and hamstring opening is prep for a posture called monkey, which is essentially a split. But we're not going to take monkey today unless you really, really want to. So if you want to be working towards a split, towards your full monkey expression, you can go ahead and start thinking about wiggling all the way down, or you can stay with me here and just open up this pelvis, open up that hamstring, open up the heart, and remembering to connect with the Ujjayi breath, which can help comfort you as we're moving here and can help lubricate the joints and the muscles a little bit as we're moving. And when you're ready, you can step that right foot back, sit back on the heels. You can sit on a block if that feels good. I'm just gonna rest a little bit before we take the second side. So if you're still playing on your first side, have at it, no rush. And when you're ready to take a little break, come back to sit on the heels. Sitting back on the heels is a big yoga thing. And it's really hard for my body in particular because of the deep knee opening. But it is extremely beneficial for the health of the knee because a lot of knee problems are rooted in quadricep tension, tension of the tendons that run along the knee. So finding time to sit back on the heels every so often is not a bad thing. Finding alignment in the spine, stacking on top of the tailbone, the sacrum, all the way up towards the crown of the head. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and grab those blocks again and come work with your second side. So when you're ready, go ahead and step the left foot up between the hands. And again, finding, oh boy, my right leg is tight. Finding that stretch in the right front hip and in the outside of that left front hip. Again, creating comfort for that back leg. You can put a blanket under your knee. Make sure that you are more on the quad than on the kneecap. You can always kind of lift yourself up. Just kind of breathing and moving from that counter stretch back into the lunge. When you're in your lunge, I have a tendency personally to hunch a little bit here. You can kind of see it on my body already. I have to really work to melt those shoulders and round them away from my ears. So if you're like me, take this opportunity to keep those shoulders away from your ears. And we can be pressing back into that counter stretch, flexing the toes up towards the sky. When you're stretching over that front straight leg, really visualize an arc coming from deep in your core up and over your hamstring. We're not just pancaking over that front leg. And again, if it feels good, you can be working that front leg a little bit more to straight. You can be working the back leg a little bit closer to the earth. But only if that feels happy and good in your body. We are not rehearsing something. We are just opening up our hips and our legs. Ooh. And sometimes a cat is in the way. A squeaky little cat. Don't forget to breathe here. Don't forget to keep melting the shoulders away from the ears. And when you've had enough, sitting back on the heels, stepping that left foot back to meet your right foot, and having a little rest back here on the heels. Again, you can sit on a block. If the knee flexion is too much for you, like it is for me, hands can come to the thighs. Again, grounding the palms for reserving your energy. or palms up to receive. Maybe you want to check back in with your belly or your heart, if that's what you were working with in the opening. We're gonna work a little bit with lizard now. So I like a prop heavy lizard myself. So if you want to take this opportunity to grab blocks, pillows, bolsters, blankets, whatever feels good for you to get set up in your lizard, go for it. I personally like a bolster and 2 blocks. And I like to put the bolster underneath my straight leg and the blocks underneath my elbows. So I'm gonna take my blocks and put them kind of on the left top corner of my mat. I'm gonna get my bolster ready to help support my body. And we're gonna start in tabletop. We're gonna step the right foot up. You can help it with your hands if you need to. And the right foot in lizard is gonna come about as wide as your mat. So we're wider than we were in our low lunge. Both arms are gonna come inside. Again, if you got tum-tum meat, you move it out of the way gently and lovingly and compassionately. Sliding the back leg back. And you can actually externally rotate the front foot so that it's actually kind of sitting on the outside on the nice edge of your right foot. I have my bolster underneath my left leg and I'm gonna put my elbows down on my blocks. Elbows should be close to being in line with your ankle. So I'm a little bit forward. I wanna make sure that I'm back a little bit. Toes can be ground into the earth back here, or you can be resting the top of the foot onto the mat. And you do not need to come onto your elbows at all. You can stay up on your hands. Wherever you can rest in this posture, it's an intense posture. So we're gonna really focus on our Ujjayi breath here, and we're gonna stay here for 1 minute, and then I'm gonna check in. So let's breathe together. Feeling that opening in the right outer hip. Using your Ujjayi breath. To comfort you as you experience the sensations of this posture. Understanding that our hips store our emotions, and that if emotions are coming up, that is incredibly natural and human. We've been here for 1 minute. I'm gonna encourage us to try to stay in for 1 more minute. If it's too much and you have to bounce out of this posture, that's okay. But if you're breathing with me, I'm right here. And if you need to sit back on the heels and take a breath, and maybe even come back into the posture, that's okay too. It's whatever you need today. There's no competition. Breathing to find openness in this pelvic area. Finding softness where there may be tension. Our body tries to help itself sometimes by engaging muscles that don't need to be engaged. Check in with the roof of your mouth. And that's 2 minutes. So go ahead and lift yourself gently up off of your props. Come out of the posture. Step that right knee back to meet the left knee. Sit back on your heels. If you're already sitting back on your heels, I'm glad that we found you again. Breathe here. Let the blood rush back to other parts of the body. You may feel a little bit of a head rush. That's okay. ready, we're gonna get set up for our second side. So go ahead and move everything a little bit towards the right this time. Again, whatever blocks or props you like to use them. And if you don't like to use them, that's okay too. It's your practice, it's not mine. Go ahead and step the left foot up to meet the hands. Again, this time the left foot is going to be as wide as your mat, gently making room for your belly in between your legs. And you can, oh, I think the cat's about to, Anya, don't barf in front of the camera, that's really rude. You can bring the elbows down to the blocks, reaching the right leg back. Oh boy. I'm sorry that if you can't see me right now, there's drama happening. So finding your shape here. Again, you can open up the left hip a little bit, coming onto that knife's edge of the foot, keeping the elbows in line with the ankle. And we're gonna breathe here for 2 minutes. I'll give you a marker at 1 minute. Again, if this is too much, you can always have your palms all the way up. You can kind of come out of it as much as you need. Breathing deeply into that pelvis. Making sure that you're not putting any unneeded pressure on your knee. And reminding your body to find softness. Wherever you may be gripping, check in with your shoulders. Check in with your mouth. And that's 1 minute gone. If you are done with your lizard today, you can sit back on the heels, you can sit in easy posture, you can take a break. Or you can breathe with me for 1 more minute. I just noticed I was gripping in my hands, so I'm gonna try to relax my hands. Using your Ujjayi breath in whatever shape you're in. Finding comfort, maybe visualizing the ocean that your breath kind of sounds like. And that's 2 minutes here, so let's go ahead and press back, come out of the posture, come off of your props if you're on them, come back to sit back on the heels. You can sit on the block if you need to. And just slowly let the blood come back into the rest of the body, feeling the difference between the first time we sat back on our heels today and right now. Maybe there's no difference. Maybe there's just the hint of a difference. But even if you're not feeling it, knowing that the work that you've already done has created change, has created openness, has facilitated healing. Great work, everyone. So let's go ahead and come to lie on your back. And to get there, you can come onto the butt and roll yourself down gently with the hands. Just finding your way so that your body is now on the earth. We're going to bring the knees in and massage the low back into the earth. You can kind of make little U shapes with the knees, opening up that low back. Always motivating with the breath. Inhaling to expand and exhaling to contract. Go ahead and place the soles of the feet on the earth, knees up to the sky. Cross the right ankle over the left knee, opening up the right knee. So this is a counter stretch to the lizard that we just took. So we're opening up that hip the other way. You can use your hands to kind of press on the right thigh to kind of help open up that hip a little bit more. If you want more, you can lift your left knee and bring this shape in towards you a little bit more. If it feels right, you can reach through your legs and grab onto that left hamstring, or you can kind of just hold on to, I prefer to just kind of hold on to my right leg and just kind of gently keep that right knee opening up, keeping the feet flexed to protect the tendons and the metatarsals. And you can kind of roll a little bit here if that feels good. Connecting the crown of the head to the mat. Great. And bring this shape back down so that the left foot is on the mat. You're going to keep that ankle crossed over the knee, and we're going to rotate so that now the sole of the right foot is reaching towards the floor. So twisting this whole shape to the left. You can have the hands on the body. You can take cactus pose with your arms. If your right foot's not making contact with the floor, that's just fine. It's just an invitation. And on an exhale, bring this shape back up to center. Bring the right sole of the foot back to the mat, and we're going to take that on the other side. So left ankle crosses the right knee. Start by just gently opening that left knee, finding that sensation in the left hip. Again, if you want more, you can bring the right knee in towards the chest. You can be reaching through, grabbing that right hamstring, or just hanging on to that left leg, reminding it to stay open. Again, you can gently roll here if that feels nice. Bring the right sole of the foot back onto the earth, and we're gonna roll so that the left sole of the foot is coming towards the earth. Again, arms can be out like a T, they can be a cactus. You can keep the hands on the body, but we're trying to keep the left shoulder blades still grounded in towards the mat. Allowing that left hip to open up. And on an exhale, bring that shape back up towards center. Bring the left sole of the foot back to the earth. I'm just going to take some really light bridging here. So bring the feet underneath the knees. You can kind of walk the shoulder blades down the back a little bit. And on an inhale, we're going to lift the pelvis just like we did in our back bending work. We're not squeezing the glutes. We're engaging the front body to lift and tilt this pelvis up. You can have the hands pressing into the earth on either side of you. You can have the elbows at a 90-degree angle, so the fingertips are reaching up towards the sky and the elbows are ground in towards the earth. And on an exhale, lowering everything back down. Stay here in this posture. Don't get too comfortable. We're going to go back up in just a second, but you can windshield wiper your legs from side to side, kind of opening things up. And again, on an inhale, we're going to tilt the pelvis, reaching from that low pelvic floor, the low abdominals, lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Arms can be bent by your sides or with interlaced fingers reaching a fist in towards the earth, melting the throat open towards the ceiling. Keeping the crown of the head ground into the mat and exhaling all the way back down. Beautiful work. Go ahead and bring the knees in towards the chest. Rolling again, opening up that low back. And we're gonna take a happy baby. So knees open wide to either side of the torso, hands reaching for the outsides of the feet. And we're just gonna kind of roll around here, sort of like a little happy baby would. So much about our bodies gets stiff as we get older, and when we're teeny tiny, this posture is incredibly easy for us. So we're just reconnecting to that innocence, to the freedom of our bodies, and squeezing tight, reaching those knees towards the floor. And when you're ready, letting everything melt all the way into your final resting pose. In my class, we love a luxurious Shavasana. So if you want to grab pillows, blankets, whatever feels good, if you have an eye pillow or an eye mask that you want to use, go ahead and grab that now. Just go ahead and find yourself in your final resting pose, Shavasana. If it feels better to take Shavasana with the soles of the feet ground into the earth, the knees up to the sky, that is also Shavasana. If it feels good to take it with the soles of the feet together in supine bound angle, that is also Shavasana. Wherever you're gonna find the most healing rest. And just gently check in with your feet, your legs, your heart. We did a lot of hip opening, a lot of heart opening. And just breathe. ready, begin to deepen your breath. Start beginning the journey of bringing yourself back into this moment on this day at this time. Maybe finding some movement in the fingers and toes. When you're ready, slowly and gently and compassionately rolling to one side into a fetal position. Letting the blood readjust. Using the strength of your arms to press yourself up into a seated posture. You can go ahead and place the hands on the body, on the heart, on the belly. Breathe into this loving light that you have cultivated today for yourself, for the world, for others. Thank yourself, thank your body for everything you were able to accomplish. And the light and the dark inside of me sees and honors the light and the dark inside of you. Thank you so much for taking this time for yourself. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday.